The next one is around dairy and cattle. The next presentation is on digital platform for dairy lending, insurance and cattle management by Balaji Lakshmanan. He is the CEO of Dwara Dairy Solutions Private Limited. He's co-founded the company, did a lot of research in the past, has been a TEDx speaker multiple times. It's probably a good idea to invite Balaji right away. Over to you, Balaji.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here. I think through the day, all of you would have heard about multiple AI as part of health insurance, part of any other insurance, but not much, to the best of my knowledge, in cattle insurance. So I'm here to talk about how artificial intelligence is going to support the cattle insurance. We talk about artificial intelligence in cattle insurance. So we are Dwara Dairy. We are a dairy accelerator. Our goal is to take that 2+ cattle owners to a 20 cattle owner in less than 5 years, secure their livelihood and increase the milk yield. That is our goal, for which we work with lenders, insurance and the ecosystem players to deliver these services. So I'm sure most of you here would have had your cup of coffee or tea with milk, and if there is anyone who is lactose intolerant or vegan, sorry to you. So if we essentially look at the cattle insurance space, the insurers face a whole lot of problems. One typically, of course, in terms of volumes, if we look at the cattle insurance, the penetration is not more than about 4 to 5%, right? And most of the insurance is also coming from those cattle for which the farmers have taken the loan, right? So this is a very interesting sort of a space, where there are a lot of claim processing inefficiencies. Then there are a lot of frauds, right? Where people typically collude with the last mile person, change the ear tags and take a claim and all that. And it also is very physical, where somebody has to go tag the cattle and do all that, right? Which is a operational headache. And risk assessment is another major problem, where there are no tools that are there to assess the risk. Should a cattle be insured or not? It is all done by the last mile paravet who picks and chooses the cattle to his fancy. And most likely the farmer will always try and insure the cattle which is the lowest in the health, right? So that is a major challenge. So and if we look at the challenges for the farmers, right? Why cattle insurance has not gone as deep is definitely the premium cost. The starting cost for a cattle insurance is at 1,800 rupees including taxes, and unfortunately cattle insurance, the GST is still 18%. I think there should be a lot more effort from the insurance side to bring that to zero. The other major thing is the complicated process of the claims. That is one thing that the farmers always come back and tell us. And of course, awareness is something that all of us keep talking about, right? So, and the accessibility is also a problem, where they are limited by who they can go to and get the insurance and the documentation. So, what has Dwara Dairy done? So, we are a 5-year-old company. We have essentially focused on this particular space, looked at some of the fundamental problems in the space and tried to come out with a solution. And a quick background about myself. I did my research from IIT Madras in computer science, in machine learning and AI, post which I did my own startup in robotics and AI for 10 years. And then I have a brief stint in Polaris, heading their digital banking and rural banking, and now running Dwara Dairy. So what we have done is we have built a complete end-to-end platform where there is a biometric identity for the cattle, which I'll show you a demo of. then there is an anti-selection, which cattle to select and the right cattle to select, whether a cattle should be insured or not. All this driven by technology, and a comprehensive health report, again, completely generated by AI, driven by veterinary science, and the entire premium, everything is collected, and also a claims module, which makes it simple and easier both for the farmers to do it by themselves as well as for the phygital agents. So, see, of course, I've shown you the picture, what essentially drives this, right? So the core of all this is the AI-driven technology that we have built. So I'm sure all of you have Aadhaar here. Anyone here without Aadhaar? I'm sure none of you here don't have Aadhaar, right? So cattle can also, we have basically built a Aadhaar equivalent for cattle. So between the nostrils of the cattle, that portion is called a muzzle. And there are patterns there which are unique for each cattle, right? So nature has been pretty interesting in that it has created a primary key, right? For, every living being, right? Dogs have it, I know almost every animal has it, right? So this has been an open problem. We at Dwara Dairy and our team, we have managed to sort of solve it. We have an accuracy of 99.6% there. And the second is the cattle health score, which is driven by veterinary science, where we have an accuracy of 97%. And based on the images of the cattle, the udder images, we'll be able to estimate the milk yield of the cattle and overall Surabhi score and cattle 360 report, which will cover the cattle value and all that. And all our systems, I mean, I know AI has been a big deal the last couple of years, but when we started, we were always AI first, even before the wave. So right now, if you see how cattle is identified or insured, is using ear tags, right? So if I just swap my ID card of somebody else, I don't become them, right? But unfortunately, cattle right now is identified using ear tags, and that's how the insurance is done. So we have essentially built a system where the system understands first that this is a muzzle. You can see the patterns, right? So these patterns are unique for each cattle. So our AI module will first understand this is a muzzle. It will automatically capture, it will box it, and it will take images. It will create an ID for the cattle. And this becomes a fundamental Aadhaar equivalent for cattle. And all this is driven by the mobile. There are, of course, other systems like Iris and other things, but you need special devices, and making a cattle stay and taking the image is a large problem, so to say. So we have built a system thinking through every possibility. The system will not take a non-muzzle image. It will also understand poor lighting and all that. It will give feedback to the user, and it will also know whether it is a digital image or a live image from the field, right? So this was one of the things that the field team was doing, right? They were taking a digital image of the muzzle, right? Which is not correct. So we have built systems for the same, and our system has been verified by multiple third-party, be it government institutions, NDDB, or academic institutions, or multiple insurance companies. They have tested our solution. So here comes the proof of the pudding, right? So you can see that these two cattle, these two cattle, they look the same, right? And the ear tags were also the same, but the muzzle was different. So here is another example, right? So out of about 2,000 claims that came with our partners, 180 claims were in such a way that the cattle looked the same, the ear tag was the same, but the muzzle was different. So using our solution, we were able to repudiate the claim. Otherwise, the insurance companies would have actually done the payout, right? So, and of course, we invested pretty heavily in terms of building the solution. We sent our team to collect about 1,25,000 images, and then 4 lakh muzzle images, using which we generated multiple, images, and developed this algorithm with a fairly high turnaround times, both at the server as well as at the mobile. And of course, the system also works for goats and sheeps. We are in sort of early stage, and it is live with a couple of insurers as well. This is again a very, growing sector. So the second is the health, right? So we saw a health demo earlier where, we'll have to do multiple postures. With cattle, it is much more simpler, where just by using a back image of the cattle and limited data points, we'll be able to estimate the health score of the cattle. This is completely driven by veterinary science. There is a concept of body condition scoring, similar to BMI that we have, right? So just by the back view, and of course, even the image capture is driven by AI, and the system, it goes to the server and then it comes back with a score 0 to 100 as well as a red, amber, green, right? And the red cattle, ideally the insurance should not happen, and amber and green can be insured. One of the data points that came with one of the insurers is the number of claims that came in a red cattle is twice that of amber and green cattle, right? It's a very interesting data point. So the amount of claims can be reduced by the right anti-selection that can essentially happen. So the third part is essentially based on the other images and the side images. We are able to compute the milk yield of the cattle, based on which we'll be also able to project a cash flow statement and come out with the value of the cattle. The valuation of the cattle is extremely important, because when you insure something, right, you need to understand what would be the right sort of measure. It should not be high, it should not be low, right? Which is a combination of the health of the cattle and the milk yield of the cattle. So we are able to come out with, the cattle value, cattle health score, a complete comprehensive health fitness certificate using all these images, which is useful for underwriting, and especially from a lending standpoint, what is the revenue from the cattle based on all this data, right? And using all these images, we also provide cattle specific recommendations to the dairy farmer, so that their health can be improved or it can be maintained, which again helps the insurance companies, or the milk yield can go up, right, where the repayments can get better, right? So all these things are scientifically driven. So the additional thing that we are working on is a data dashboard, where based on the health of the cattle, the claims of the cattle, and diseases, cattle density, a data framework is there, which helps in decision making for the insurance companies for a go or a no-go, right? We also have a free mobile app that is available in the Play Store. If any of you have cattle here or know anyone who is having cattle, feel free to download and use it. More than about 1.5 lakh cattle have been tested by the farmers. We have close to about 10 lakh downloads as part of the Play Store. So we have a fairly good data that is coming from the farmer, from the insurance companies, and this data platform will essentially, significantly be useful for the insurance companies. So all that we have seen is an innovation in the technology, right? Now in terms of the product, what we have done is we have closely worked with multiple insurers, and we have launched a cattle insurance starting 499 rupees, where the sum insured will start from rupees 10,000. So the goal of the insurance is to absorb the shock when the cattle dies, right? Even a 10,000 rupee is a good amount for the farmer to absorb the shock, right? So as I mentioned earlier, the cost of the premium is one of the major challenges for the farmer. So our end goal is to make the cattle insurance as simple and as easy as two-wheeler insurance, right? So right now, any of us take our two-wheeler or car insurance, we just click a couple of buttons, we get the insurance, right? It should ideally be the same way for the cattle insurance as well. So the farmer will be able to essentially take all these images. He or she will essentially have created the identity. The entire report will come, and they'll be able to do the premium. Similarly, in the case of claims, they can take the muzzle images and the dead cattle images and videos, and based on all this, the claim processing can be done. So we are essentially working with the insurance companies to do the settlement in 2 days to 2 weeks max. And the requirement of the ear tag is not there, right? We don't have to literally tag the cattle, right? So these are some of the major advantages of the system, and especially the pricing, where the farmer can choose between 500 to 3,000 depending on the value of the cattle. So here is a sample customer. So she was able to essentially do the cattle insurance by herself. So she's a rural farmer in Tamil Nadu, and all that we gave was a link. So she was able to go through the link and create a policy for herself. And most importantly, here is a farmer. She was able to get the claim done. So all that we had to do again was send a link to her, and she was able to take the muzzle images and the dead cattle images and some videos, and we were able to analyze and give the report to the insurance companies, and the settlement happened in 2 days flat. So this is a complete D2C model, right, where this empowers the farmers to do the cattle insurance and the claim process by themselves. Similarly, for the insurance companies, a major benefit is in terms of doing everything absolutely digital. Next slide. So this is very, very powerful to the farmers because this simplifies the entire claim processing, which is always a sort of a road blocker for them. Yeah. So we are as well building an army of agents. Right now we have 20,000 agents. So we saw the technology, we saw the product. Next comes the distribution. We are building an army of agents, about 20,000 now, and our goal is about 1 lakh. And where these agents can essentially take the solution and do this retail cattle insurance and get paid as a percentage of the premium. The second is in terms of a complete D2C through our mobile app as well as through the partners and the digital marketing that we do. The third essentially is in terms of the milk aggregators, the Amuls of the world, the Milky Mist of the world, and we can essentially distribute. We are in partnership with about 20 of them. And of course, there is a lot of interest from the government as well in terms of using this identity. For example, one of the state governments, they wanted to use the muzzle identity for the stray cattle, right? Just scan the muzzle, know the owner, send them the challan, right? And couple of government subsidies, including vaccinations, can be effectively done through the muzzle. So we are building also this e-store where with our army of agents, more digitally deliverable products that are relevant to the dairy households or the rural households, can be done via these agents. So open to any partnerships as long as, this may include the motor insurance or health insurance. So all these will be part of this Surabhi e-store and delivered to the rural households. And we have both the models of where we source the farmer and the cattle for the insurance as well as giving it as a SaaS technology. And we have multiple partners. We have also tested the solution in Africa. So the solution that we have built, we are the only one having this level of accuracy. Many others with even deeper pockets have attempted at the problem and they haven't been managed to solve it yet. And we also constantly benchmark this with GenAI. GenAI, at least as we speak, is not, it doesn't have an idea about, the tech around the cattle. I think its focus right now is humans. So thanks to that. So we are looking at leveraging this technology and, having a deeper impact, not just from an Indian context, but at a global south. So we have a fairly strong team. The co-founder, John Vincent, he has over 25 years of experience in the rural space and especially the tech. And Dr. JTK, you can Google up. He's a silver award winner in YouTube, highly followed veterinarian. And so our larger goal is to sort of transform the lives of dairy farmers where the insurance is something very key. The goal is to make the dairy farmers be seen as a MSME player, right? In a way, cattle enables them to generate regular income, right? In fact, when you compare agri with dairy generates income every 10 days. The number of controllables are more in dairy, right? And it is also good with the protein economy that we are building, right? And with the allied products from the milk, the farmers can generate a lot more revenue, right? So these are multiple sort of opportunities for the farmers. So look forward for any partnerships, anybody with any feet on street looking to leverage the technology, happy to collaborate, or any other insurance companies with any of the other products, happy to host that as part of the e-store. Thank you for showing interest and listening, talking about the cattle insurance. Thank you. Open for any quick questions, if any. Thank you.